I'm in Brighton! Or I was the other weekend. I played the role of a good tourist and visited the local attractions. We stayed with my brother, but don't go expecting a hotel tour as I don't dox people's houses. We began by visiting the Seafront. We received a call from my brother saying he was going to the hospital, which was the perfect start to our trip. It was all quite the disaster. He smacked his head on a metal bar on Friday the 13th of October. With not much of a choice, my mum and I went around the seafront and had a look at the sea. We were quite lucky that we went at a really nice time of day as the sun was quite low in the sky, which made the water look really pretty because... physics? Our next destination was the pier. The shops on the pier were pretty much all closed because it was a weekday afternoon, but some of the food places were still open. Not that we ate any. Brighton donuts are expensive. I will note that the arcade was open, but my mum doesn't like arcades, so we didn't use new machines. I didn't really mind either way, and I didn't want to bore my mum to death. I do enjoy the old 2p machine though, they're quite fun. As I looked from the pier, I realised that the beach was made of the sandcastle builder's favourite material. Pebbles! Who wouldn't want that? It's great for walking on because you don't get sand in your shoes. All the rides were closed, but there's a bright side as it provided room to breathe, which I assume would be lacking in a packed pier. At the end of the pier there was a viewpoint where we looked at the city. Unfortunately, we had to leave for the day as we needed to find my brother at the hospital to see if he was okay. And on the way to the car park, which cost a fortune by the way, I spotted the Hello Kitty cafe. It looked quite cute in there and I really wanted to go in, but I know you have to pre-book and it's also not really something my mum would be that interested in, so I have to go back one day because I love Sanrio. We realised that my brother had a long time left to wait at the hospital and we were getting quite hungry, so we ended up going to a restaurant for our evening meal. After a surprisingly short wait time, I had a barbecue chicken melt with chips, coleslaw and salad, and it was lovely. I then had a cheesecake for dessert with some ice cream and I thought the cheesecake was quite grainy. I'd say the main meal was definitely the highlight. I didn't take any more footage on this day, but you should know that my brother was fine and he was just told to take it easy over the next couple of days and rest. So that's good. Continuing onwards, we had another look at the sea and it was still so beautiful even though it wasn't the same time of day. So here are some photos of the beach to record the view for myself. Nature is just lovely sometimes. We walked back up the pier for the free toilets because obviously that's the highlight of Brighton. And I noticed a stunning traditional English bin. It has a beautiful intricate blue design and I just couldn't help but take a video of it. So here it is in all its glory. My brother showed us this little shop that he thought I'd be interested in and I was, but I didn't buy anything. They sold anime and kawaii stuff, which you don't see too often, so they were cool in my eyes. We then had a quick walk on the beach for a close-up look at those pebbles, and the sea was very pretty, but also really violent. I almost got my feet wet and had to run back. There are a bunch of sheep called the Brighton flock, and you'll see them a couple more times coming up. They're quite adorable. We went to a place called The Lanes for lunch. We ate at the deli, where they sold Korean corn dogs, sandwiches, and all kinds of stuff. I can't remember why, but I was quite grumpy in there, so the food really lightened up my mood. I had chicken and breadcrumbs with Japanese curry sauce, cheese and chips. Usually when you go to somewhere that sells Japanese curry here, it tastes like Chinese chip shop curry. You'll know what that is if you're from the UK. There's nothing like not getting what you ordered because they don't understand the product they're supposed to sell. But this one I would say actually tasted like Japanese curry. So that was a nice surprise. For the next place we went to, I had to beg my family to go in because it's a bit pricey, but I don't regret it. We went to the Brighton Pavilion, which has these beautiful gardens and was the former home of King George IV. The outside of the palace is an Indian-inspired design, and the interior of the palace is Chinese-inspired. And it all had quite the wow factor. I couldn't film anything inside, so I don't have any footage, unfortunately, but you should definitely check it out if you're in the area. I highly recommend it. Next, we returned to the lanes and had a proper look around. We started walking down a bunch of the streets with different shops, but I didn't buy anything. I think I just enjoy the experience of browsing. We went back to my brother's place and had a Chinese takeaway for the night with some poor quality singing at karaoke. The next day was the day we left. We just needed somewhere for a quick visit on the way home, and we found this lovely little garden place called the One Garden, and it had all these lovely plants. There's also this little shop you can go in called the market. It had some little products and it had another one of the sheep outside, which was, of course, very cute. And then we had a walk down the garden. I saw a tiny cute pumpkin, lots of pretty flowers, and lots of different pathways. And now we have reached the end of our journey. We made our way safely home and we had a lovely trip overall.